Hello, Fat Girl Freestyle here, back with another cautionary tale and why you should not eat everyone's food. This is not my personal story, but it is a story of a very close friend of mine. I did get his permission to share it as long as I kept him anonymous. So, here in New Orleans and across Louisiana, probably all across the South, as a matter of fact, we have a saying: you can't eat everyone's red gravy. And what we mean by red gravy is basically spaghetti sauce. But we do a lot of things here that have that red gravy. So, my friend, this was, of course, just a few years back, he met a young lady on a dating app, of course. And he became quite fond of her. So after a few months of dating, he decides that he wants to introduce her to his friend group. So we're all anxious to meet her because he's a very nice gentleman, very sweet. He's a very good friend. So we know that he would make an awesome partner for the right woman. Considering the luck he had been having in the romance department, we were very happy to meet her and give our approval. So, me and two other of his very good female friends and another guy friend of his, we met him and the young lady for dinner. And the interaction went well. She was a bit quiet, not as engaging, but we figured she's probably an introvert. It's her first time meeting us. We tend to get a little rambunctious sometimes when we get together, so it's fine. So the end of the night comes and everybody is saying their goodbyes. And one of our other female friends, I'm going to refer to her as Alicia. Alicia shakes the young lady's hand to say goodnight. And I look at Alicia's face and she just kind of did that while shaking her hand. So I made a note. I said, well, when we're saying goodnight, I definitely have to ask her what that was about. So our friend and his companion leave, and we all go walk to the parking lot. And we're standing around talking, and I asked Alicia, I said, Alicia, why did you make that face and blink your eyes that way when you shook that young lady's hand? And she said, girl, she said, I felt something when I touched her. I said, what do you mean? She said, I'm telling y'all, there's something not right about that young lady. She said, I can't put my finger on it. I can't put it into words. She said, but there's something not right about her. She said, I can feel it. So the rest of us are like, it's her first time meeting us. We talk a lot. We can be a bit overwhelming for people who are not accustomed to, being around us and being in a group of people that make as much noise as we do sometimes. And she said, no, that is not it. And she kept shaking her head. No, that is not it. It's something else. That is not it. It's something else. So we said, well, we'll arrange another meeting in a few weeks. see how things go. Those few weeks come and go. We're barely in contact with our friend at this point. He barely texts. It's hard to get him on the phone. So we're like, well, he hasn't been in a relationship for a very long time, so we'll give him some space. About 6 months pass, and it's finally around the time of his birthday. So we get in touch with him and say, hey, it's your birthday. You know, we always celebrate each other for our birthdays. We got to get together. So he's like, fine. Make the arrangements. Tell me where to meet y'all. So we do. Another restaurant. All decide to meet. So the rest of the friend group, we show up on time. And we're waiting and checking our watches and waiting and like running late. About 45 minutes after we get there, him and his companion arrive. And we're all shocked when we see him because he's very thin. He doesn't look like himself at all. There's no light or energy in his eyes whatsoever. So we're all just very shocked. So we're asking him, are you okay? Are things going okay? Are you stressed out? Are you sick? What's going on? And he's giving us very hollow answers. I'm fine. I'm okay. His companion starts answering for him. He's fine. He's okay. He's just been working a lot. His job has been stressing him out. He's been working really hard. We have a lot happening, a lot going on. And she's very talkative, which is incredibly surprising considering our last interaction. It was almost like, I don't know, she didn't want us to know something. And every time we tried to engage with him, we noticed something else. She would touch his hand and he would give a very short answer. It's almost like she was controlling him in some way. So again, we say our goodbyes and we just kind of stayed at the table after him and his companion left. And Alicia says, do y'all believe me now that something is not right about her? It was undeniable. She's like, we have to get him by himself. She said, I'm telling you, she's doing something to him. She said, my grandmother was a very, very powerful root worker, and I know the signs of things. I've seen it before. I've watched it growing up. I know what this is. She said, and seeing him tonight confirms it for me. So we make a plan to get him alone, if at all possible. So we end up showing up at his job one day, just me and Alicia, to sit down and talk to him. And that's when he starts telling us about all the meals that she's cooked for him. And at least twice a week, he's eating red gravy. And as soon as Alicia hears that, she immediately knows the kind of work that's being done. And she tells him that. She's doing work on you. She's putting her, you know what, into your food. A woman's monthly flow. And he's like, no, she's not doing that. And we start telling him, have you seen yourself lately? Have you really looked at yourself lately? You spent so much time with us in the past before you met her, and now all of a sudden we can't get you on the phone. You barely respond to a text. And we had to show up at your job to get you to talk to us without her. And he just starts shaking his head from side to side, and he just does this. And he's not saying anything. And Alicia says, listen, I can help you, but I need you by yourself so that I can help you. So he's still not believing. He's like, I love her. I'm going to ask her to marry me. I'm not leaving her. Alicia says, okay, no problem. I'll pray for you. So we leave. Another few months pass. Alicia calls me one day, all excited on the phone, telling me that he reached out to her and that he was coming by that day to see her. She wanted me there. So I went to her house. He shows up looking worse than ever. He's very pale. Could tell he hadn't been eating. We asked him what was up. He said, the only reason I got away today is because she had to go out of town with her mom for a few days. He said, I need to tell y'all something. He said, before she left, she cooked a bunch of food for me, put it in the freezer. He said, one evening, I'm going into the freezer to get one of the containers so that I could warm the food up. And he said, I noticed something towards the back of the freezer. He said, it looked odd to me. It was these little red squares. He says, I pull the bag out and I'm looking at it. And I'm thinking, what is this? Is it seasoning? What is it? It was seasoning, all right. He decided to let one of the cubes defrost. And he discovered that it was her monthly flow. And he remembered watching her deposit these cubes before when she was making that red gravy. And that's when he knew all the stories from his mom and grandmother and aunts about you can't eat everybody's red gravy came to mind. He knew the type of work Alicia's grandmother used to do, so of course he called her right away. So Alicia went about doing what she needed to do to help him cut the connection. And it was a battle for a while. It truly was. It was like a push and a pull between him and the young woman. Because you have to understand these types of things create a very powerful tie. And this is why it's important to not eat from everyone. But not only that, when you are sharing intimacies with people, you have to know who they are, because these fluids, this contact, this intimate contact carries energy. And that's why we find it so hard to disconnect ourselves from people sometimes. It's all magic. It's all spell work. Not all of it is intentional. Some people do it and don't realize it. But this, her putting that in his food, was very, very intentional. So it took a few months, but they parted ways. She had moved into his house and everything. So Alicia has to go through and cleanse the space. And she's checking to see if she left any amulets or any items behind that would keep that connection so that she could keep tabs on him. In several of the closets at the top, Alicia found chicken bones. So, again, it's a story of caution about not only not eating everybody's food, but being very aware of who you are connected to. Because sometimes people will do work on you to keep you around for their benefit. So if you're ever feeling like you can't get away from somebody, if you're ever feeling like that connection is so strong and you're not sure why, or if that person is not really someone you're typically attracted to, ask yourself, have I eaten anything that they cooked? Have they been alone in any space in my house? You have to check these things. I know a lot of people don't believe in voodoo and hoodoo and all these other things, but I can tell you it is very real. And this is a personal experience of a very good friend of mine that I witnessed with my own eyes. So I know. And again, you can't eat everybody's red gravy. Our grandmothers and our aunts weren't lying about that. And be careful who you connect to. Be careful who you're sharing your energy with. And be aware of what beliefs that they may have, because you never know. Somebody could be doing some work on you. I'm Fat Girl Freestyle, and as always, thank you for being here. And of course, I love you.